An administrator accused of embezzling nearly $600,000 from her Christian school to pay for IVF treatment and vacations. And for those who don't know what IVF is, it's basically to help you get pregnant. So she spent it on treatment, vacations, meals, and Amazon purchases. So authorities say that Katherine Paprocka stole $579,000 from Pennsylvania's Penn Christian Academy. The 36-year-old now faces 29 felony counts related to the theft from the school and business that worked with the school between July 2020 and December 2021. What's really crazy is she now might be in a situation where she may never get out. Like 29 felony counts? And that might just the time that she might end up getting might be just added upon one another. So let's say that she were to get 5 years for one felony count, for one felony charge, if she's found guilty. That's 5 years, then 5 years after that, then 5 years after that, then 5 years after that. That's gonna be insane. So officials claim that Ms. Paprocka assumed the identities and forged the signatures of multiple school employees and volunteers, obtained credit cards in their names, and claimed to lenders and other companies that she was the owner of the school. Wow, this is okay, so I was wondering why this was so many felony counts. So the thing is, she didn't just basically go "Oh, I'm going to just steal $600,000." She committed fraud, theft, wire fraud potentially, forgery, right? Impersonating a public official. Like this is crazy stuff. Wow. So Paprocka used the more than $500,000 of stolen funds for family vacations to London, New York, and Florida, as well as for other activities including rental property payments, car rentals, clothing purchases, restaurant meals, Amazon purchases, and payments for in vitro fertilization medical treatments, stated the Montgomery County District Attorney's Office. Now, here's the thing, right? How much money do you need per month to just live a okay life, right? To where you're not tempted to do something like this, right? Why are there people that get so tempted to do things like this instead of just you know what? I'm content in my life. Yeah, I want to make more money, but I want to work harder, maybe work a little bit longer, maybe be creative with maybe selling a product or a business or something. Why do you have to go down the route of straight up massive criminal acts to try to make money? Your side hustle is yeah, I'm just going to rob a Christian academy. What? Prosecutors say that the school is a non-profit and does not have an owner. A criminal complaint states that the alarm was raised after the school brought in an outside accountant to look at their books. The accountant told them that in all his years as an accountant, he has never seen a business entity use so many bank accounts and so many payroll companies in a short amount of time as the school had. And the complaint says that the staff who spoke to investigators said they had not been paid for weeks of work, and some quit still being owed money. So Ms. Paprocka was released from jail on a $99,000 bail, and she was made to surrender her passport to the court and cannot leave the state. She is charged with a slew of felony counts including forgery, theft by deception, deceptive or fraudulent business practices, and other charges. Her lawyer, Martin Mullaney, told CBS Philadelphia that his client denied the allegations against her. From news to politics, blah blah blah. Okay, so yeah, feel free to give your thoughts on this if you stumble upon this. Like, to me, I just don't really understand the reasoning behind this, right? You weren't even smart with the money that you stole. You were just being completely stupid with this money. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go on trips. Oh yeah, I'm just gonna buy clothing and stuff from Amazon. Oh yeah, I'm gonna spend this money to get pregnant. right? Like, to me, none of this makes sense as to why someone would like do this, right? Like, I would understand it more. Not saying that this is okay, but I would understand it more if, like, let's say that, like, oh, you stole money because a loved one needed money right now because if not, something bad would happen to them. I would understand that situation more than someone going out of their way, putting on all this hassle to steal this money from this academy, right? It's like you're putting in so much effort for such high risk for not really any reward because you're just spending it all. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, this is why you need to get yourself in a financial situation where none of this would even cross your mind to do, right? For example, if you're debt free, if you got money in the bank, as in like an emergency fund, if you have money going towards your investments, and you have excess cash even after that, would you even be tempted to do something this stupid? No, you probably wouldn't. So get yourself in a situation financially where you feel at the very least safe in your life, financially speaking, to where you could wake up, not feel stressed about anything financial, and just go basically do what you want to do within reason, right? Yeah, you might not be able to fly like on a private jet, but you could still, I don't know, live a good life, you know? Like, people need to be really careful about the situations that they put themselves in because, like, again, I don't really understand the main reason for this. Like, the only thing that maybe I can see why something would like bring her to do something like this crazy would probably be the IVF, just because some ladies might really want to get pregnant by almost any means, and so they go down the IVF route. And the IVF route, which some people may not know, it is an extremely expensive process that does not have a guarantee of success. So you could easily spend anywhere from like 10 to 20 grand, I think, per attempt, and that may never work, right? So you could do 10, 20 grand as like a trial, not work. Again, 10 to 20 grand, again, 10 to 20 grand, and again, and again, and again, and again. And you could be, 100K plus without the money, right? You could be 100K plus into this whole thing without a kid at the end of it. So maybe that's why she was so motivated into doing something like this, just so that she could afford that sort of procedure. But at the same time, it's like, is getting pregnant worth tossing your whole life for? Because there's no way that she like expected that she could get away with this forever, right? Like, this is not a small amount of money. She's spending a lot of the money for really useless crap that she probably posts about publicly. It's like, it's pretty much the equivalent of, like, let's say someone is in like a Ponzi scheme. They run a Ponzi scheme, and basically you just see them basically driving Lamborghinis, Bugattis, Ferraris, buying $1 million mansions, buying a yacht every month or every few months, and they post themselves driving it or like in it or whatever on their social media. Like, does that make any sense? Like, something is going to be up with their whole fiasco. Like, hey, how are you able to afford this whole thing? Like, it doesn't seem right, you know? Because she probably wasn't making that much money from whatever her job was, the administrator. So it's just like, okay, maybe she's making like 50 to 70,000 a year. I mean, she could still afford the IVF and whatnot, but like, people are going to catch wind if you're going on trips all over the world. You're getting IVF. You're paying for all these different rental cars, these different experiences, a whole bunch of clothing, all that kind of stuff, right? Like, people are going to start to wonder, like, huh, How are you affording all of this? Right? So this lady was just basically very stupid, but I would love to know like the actual reasoning behind this because it just doesn't make any sense to me.